Hello everyone, welcome to Norfolk Wine and Spirits. We have Mr. William Weymss.
That's right.
Of Weymss. I can call it a distillery, but Weymss brand.
Yeah, independent
And-
bottlers.
And also and bottlers, and also the owner of co-owner of King's Barn, which is one of the newest single malt distillery in Scotland. Welcome, first
Thank
of all.
you.
Great to have you here. We have huge range of whiskies here from different regions. In Speyside, I see some Islas, I see a grain whiskey. So if you could please introduce yourself and
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about your company, it would be great. Thank you.
No problem. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me in. So I'm the founder of Weymss Malts. I started 12 years ago as an independent bottler. So we bottle predominantly blends of single malts according to individual flavour profiles. So the street we're tasting here this morning is the Hive, which is a blend of single malts, predominantly from the Speyside region. So they're sweet or honey style whiskies.
This is what we're having right now. Beautiful balance.
So all these three are bottled, they're all non-chill filtered, or bottled at 46%. And then we've also just tasted the King's Barnes New Make Spirit, which isn't available here in the US, but
It is phenomenal. I mean, you could
just
just the
an
nose
interest.
is so beautiful, and the palate, this viscosity, I think is going to really well. Can't wait for it to come out, and after the cash treatment.
well, hopefully this time next year, we'll be sitting here talking and enjoying our first King's Barnes single malt.
Yeah, I look forward to that.
So yeah, so hopefully you'll see some honey notes, particularly on the palate.
So I'm getting even on the nose, but especially in the finish, a little bit of barrel char.
Right.
I don't want to call it heat, but definitely some smoke.
Yeah.
Do you get that as well, or if you can explain what the process is
Yeah.
in going?
Yeah, so we
creating a
are,
blend?
we start with a flavour profile, like the Hive, so we're looking for sweeter honey style single malts. So we're looking for those single malt distilleries that have long fermentation times, and that run their stills very slowly, so you get a lot of copper contact, so you get a lighter style spirit, and then we'll start the barrel selection from those individual single malt distilleries
I see. For the Hive.
for the Hive, and then we'll have a different approach in terms of those single malts that we're looking for the Spice King.
Okay. What about the King's Barn? What sort of distillery is that, and what are you looking for from a taste profile? What do you project?
Well, it's a Lowlands distillery, so when we built it in 2014, we wanted to be light, fruity, very true to the Lowland style, to the Lowland region. Yeah, based near St Andrews, 6 miles from the home of golf.
Okay.
So we've got a capacity of about 500,000 litres of alcohol. We're not distilling at that level at the moment.
Right.
Not least because it costs a lot of money to start a distillery,
Right.
and once we start selling a single malt, then hopefully we will be able to increase the production.
Sure.
But light fruity maturation, principally in first fill Heaven Hill barrels from here in the States, ASBs, American Standard barrels, and then we're doing a little bit of experimentation around the side with a few other different types of woods.
Okay. So are these very tall stills? So if you
No, they're quite, actually it's a good point, they're quite dumpy stills, because the King's Barnes building is a listed building dating back 300 years, so we had to work within the structure of the building when we built the distillery. So they're quite dumpy stills from Forsyth that were built to fit the building.
Yeah. Tasting the new make, I see there's viscosity, there's a lot of viscosity, so it's not necessarily very light, at least on the new make side, but
Yeah.
once you add
It's
water,
fruity.
fruitier, yeah, a lot fruitier,
Fruity,
definitely.
and that's
yeah.
what we want, and that comes from the long fermentation times.
And how long is that?
They're about 60 hours.
60 hours. And you're
Yeah.
using a special yeast, or what sort of yeast are you using? Just commercial available yeast?
Yeah,
Or
there'll be commercial available
Commercial.
use. Yeah, but everything is done locally. Everything, all the barley is sourced from the region, from the Fife region, and then obviously it's distilled in Fife, and it will be matured in Fife as well.
okay.
So much of the barley comes from the fields around our family home at Weymss.
Okay. Superb.
So that's the Hive. Spice King is the second of the two whiskies.
there an age statement or is
No.
there? No, there are no age statements on these.
What our policy is to concentrate on very active casks. So we use first and second fill casks to fill and to choose from mature whiskies, and also now in 2010 we started filling our own barrels, and delivering our own barrels to those distilleries with which we have partnerships.
Okay. And in a typical blend,
Yeah.
How many different distilleries or casks are in that batch?
There would be, well, it depends. The batch, it would depend how many, so we probably bottle around 1,500 cases each time, but it depends on the number of casks with those flavour profiles that will fit each bottling, so that's the sort of variable factor. But we would be selecting from up to, in each of these, it would be up to about 10 different single malt distilleries.
10 different.
Yeah.
And these are all malted, blended malts.
There's no grain.
So there's no
They're blends of single malts.
Okay.
So we're coming at this from the wine industry, as we talked about a few moments
Right.
ago, in terms of looking at blending as a force for good, like some of the most expensive wines in the world, like Briand, which 3 different grape varieties, different vineyard sites, and then the skill is really with the master blender at the winery in terms of bringing all that together to create. I don't know how much a case of Oak Briand in the States, but
Sure. I don't know.
not cheap.
I've not had a bottle of that particular wine. And every year the blend is going to be slightly different because they're trying to extract the best flavor out of the percent of
For the
different
wine,
Yeah.
or for the wine, yes, that is true, because you'll have, it's an agricultural product. You'll have different climatic conditions, whereas obviously this has been distilled, and hopefully our skill as master blenders is to bring a consistent flavour profile to each and every batch, so the consumer knows the type and style of whiskey that he's getting. So if he buys a Spice King, he sees and tastes the spices. Next time he comes back to the Spice King, it's got the same attributes.
Right.
Because otherwise we failed in terms of selecting according to flavour profile.
Right. Oh, this is fantastic.
This is my favourite of the range.
Is that right?
Yes.
Do you match like pair food with the whiskey, or is it generally drinking by itself?
No, we do sometimes pair food. I mean, in the UK we're drinking more sort of wine and beer with food. Whiskey is more sort of digestif after dinner. But in other markets, like in Asia, they do tend to pair, with some of these sort of spicier curry type meals. Spice King goes very well and complements that. Peat chimney is amazing with oysters.
Is it? Yeah. Okay.
A few drops of peat chimney in an oyster, perfect.
Let's dive into that now. And is it all Isla, or are you using
No,
Tobermory or Isle of Mull?
No,
or
so
some
it's
other-
not all. So the idea is that it isn't as phenolic as something like an Ardbeg or a
Lafroig?
Lafroig, for example. It is for those who want to experiment with Isla for the first time. So this has had a ppm of about 12 to 14. So it's
high
quite
motor
modest, it's
character,
quite
yeah.
gentle. It's not a great big peat bomb.
So, is there any Isla distillery represented in that peat chimney?
Yes, there will be Isla. There will be Isla distilleries in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're looking at Island, Talisker
Yeah,
type
there'll be some
distillery.
mainland distilleries in there as well. Yeah.
Actually, beautiful nose. You get a lot of vanilla in there too.
These will all be principally bourbon matured. You get a nice lingering peatiness in that one to me. This is quite fun actually to add a few drops of water to. Just to open up the dram.
Oh yeah, it really explodes the
Yeah.
nose.
Yeah, really opens up the dram. It's a not
This one is way too easy to drink actually.
Yeah, I mean, you either love peat or you hate it. But it's a sort of gentle peatiness. It's not
Yeah.
peatiness for just being peated. It's
Right.
it's trying to integrate the level of peat with the spirit. You know, that's the challenge.
Thank you. This is great. And you know, obviously, this is sort of to introduce us into the art of blending, if you will. Is
Yes.
that this particular table?
Yeah,
mat
so
with-
we do little blending workshops where we show how we put the blends together. So we have an expression back home which is distilling as a science, blending as the art. So that's what we're trying to convey in terms of how we put and how we select from different distilleries according to flavour profiles and how we put those blends together that are hopefully the same to the consumer time after time.
Right. Because right now, single malts or even single grains are really exploding. There's a lot of
Yeah.
interest in that. And blends, which is you know, a little bit challenging to make sometimes, but there seems to be less appeal
Yeah.
occasionally. But you know, I know Compass Box is doing some
Yeah.
phenomenal job to put blends back on the consumers you know, radar, if you will. But Weymss, I think people once they try that, you know, that will be you know, have the same effect. But we'd love to kind of next time you're here, maybe have the Norfolk Line Express folks come in and kind of attend this
Yeah, that'd be
seminar
great.
or
Very
group.
happy to come and do a seminar or a
Yeah,
tasting.
that'll be phenomenal, you know, and to kind of see how difficult it is to achieve this particular blend. You know,
Yeah,
so it'd be great to kind of
yeah,
go
it'd be
through the
great.
exercise.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. I know that
No
you play
problem.
cricket as well, especially your son. So you know, we'd love to come down to visit your distillery.
Great.
Is it you know, is it open to visitors?
Yeah,
At
so
this
we
point?
have a visitor centre, so
Yeah.
we designed it with a visitor centre in mind because of our close proximity to St Andrews. So yeah, we do tours of varying types, and then we have our gin distillery at Dartleys, literally on the same site just next door.
Your gins are phenomenal too. It's just that I don't drink too much gin, but the nose on these were great. So you know,
Thank you.
hopefully we can get these in and people will have some
Thank you.
interest in that.
Give me a chance to try them.
So thank you so much, Dave Leary. Thanks for taking the video. Appreciate that, and cheers.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cheers. Slange.
Right.